From making $120,000 a day to discovering a mine forgotten in time. This is how Parker's wash plant printed gold. Let's dive in. It had been a busy day at Dominion Creek. Parker's crew was pushing the boundaries of their new wash plant. Roxanne, on its first full week of running, according to Tatiana, she was still getting used to the new plant. Tyson and Mitch had put a conveyor at the end that basically shot out the unwanted material, so the crew didn't have to do it, which meant that people like Tatiana could get pay from a much longer distance. Initially, Tatiana fed the plant 250 yards of pay an hour. As the slewing operations went on, Parker arrived at the site with another plan. He told Alex that they needed to increase the feed rate. Being a professional, Alex asked if there was enough water to handle an increase in the feed rate. Parker, not quick to change his mind, insisted that they needed to increase the rate by 20%. Knowing better than to argue with Parker, Alex agreed, since the more they slewed, the more gold they obtained, meaning the more money everyone would make. In the end, Parker went ahead and increased Roxanne's feed rate up to 300 yards an hour, and Alex boosted the water being pumped to the plant from 2,800 to 3,000 gallons a minute to wash the increased dirt that was now flowing through. After this, Parker informed Tatiana about the increase and left. I'm still getting used to the new plant, Tyson and Mitch. I'll put a conveyor at the end that basically shoots out all the coarse tailings so I don't have to do it, which means now I can go get paid from a lot longer distances. The belts were now much faster than what the crew was dealing with before, so Tatiana had to work faster to beat that increase. But then something unexpected happened. There was some water coming out of the distribution box, coming all the way to the floor. It was as if the plant's distribution box had clogged, taking too much dirt and water than it could handle. Seeing this, Tatiana called Mitch to check it out. In Mitch's perspective, the plant was initially working just fine before Parker increased its rate. Now the plant was running 20% over capacity, and it was spilling everything everywhere. To Mitch, patience was the name of the game when working with a plant like Roxanne. But patience was never Parker's strong suit. By increasing the feed rate and water flow, Parker flooded the distribution box. The plant system was really struggling, and with the dirt material boiling over, this was not a good thing at all. The water coming out would cause erosion, which was the last thing the crew wanted, since the ground below would weaken, forcing them to take down the plant and rebuild it somewhere else. This would take a lot of time and energy, which should be focused on feeding the plant and obtaining more gold. We need to turn the feed rate up. Yeah, I want to run it at like full pork. Is there enough water? We really need up 20%. Mitch needed to strike a balance between a smooth water delivery while still having enough to wash the increased pay dirt flowing through the plant. But to do all this, Roxanne had to be shut down. To ensure that there was no more pay dirt coming in, Tatiana had to let the feeder run out first before she could add any more dirt to make the necessary repairs. Mitch had to be fast, since they would not be making any money when the plant was shut down, and that was something Parker would not like to hear. Roxanne's custom-built spray bars were wide open, causing the plant to overflow. Mitch's plan was to attach nozzles to all of the spray bars, as the pressure would help break up and wash the increased rate of pay dirt with less water. If the right spread could be achieved, it would result in clean rocks and reduced water flow. Putting these nozzles was going to help spread the water out of it by creating a wall to spread the material. They were about to see if the plan would work. Mitch could now turn the pump back to 2,800 grams a minute while maintaining the feed rate at 300 yards an hour with the plant running as well as it should. Mitch had to report to Parker as they talked about the challenges Mitch had encountered. Chris Dumit suggested that they should wait some gold. By this time, Sleufer, another wash plant, had been running on Australia Creek for a month, averaging 145 a week. After measuring the gold, they got about 270.05 ohms, worth over $540,000. That was not a bad week for them. Next up was Roxanne's gold before swapping, and Roxanne Big Red was Parker's main moneymaker, averaging over 370 ounces a week despite the downtime Parker's team had experienced when repairing Roxanne. They still managed to get 453.8 ohms. That was nearly $120,000 in a day. It was the biggest haul of the season, worth over $1.4 million. Yet this was not the only time Parker got a crazy amount of gold. 723.85. Over 700 ounces in 1 week. That's nuts. Parker Schnabel and his team had just stumbled upon filled with untouched gold. It had been left behind in a rush, the treasure sitting there for years, just waiting to be taken by someone curious enough to look excited by their discovery. They wasted no time. They worked fast, pulling out gold at an unbelievable speed, but the deeper they went, the more they felt something was off. Strange tools, unfamiliar markings, and eerie signs started appearing. It was as if someone long ago had left behind a message: do not dig here. But Parker wasn't one to walk away from a gold mine. He ignored the warnings and kept digging. The deeper they went, the more unsettling things became. Then they found it. Something that changed everything. At first glance, the mine seemed like the ultimate jackpot. Thick veins of gold lined the rock walls, shining even in the dim light. There were no signs of old school mining tools, no mercury contamination, just pure raw gold waiting to be taken. Parker claimed every last bit without hesitation, but gold always comes at a price. What they uncovered wasn't just treasure, it was a mystery wrapped in danger. It reminded Parker of a story his grandfather once told him. One day his grandpa had an unbelievable gold haul, 42 in a single day, but 4 hours later everything changed. As the dust settled, a strange sound rose from the ground. It wasn't just a mine, it was something much more. Parker's team had no permafrost, no million-dollar machines burning fuel, just the mine and a growing sense of unease. If this ground's anything like the Yukon, then like the coarser gold's going to be further down. It's like I'd like to know what's deeper, so if you guys don't mind us sticking around here for a bit. No, we should definitely explore more. I mean, we're here, yeah. I think that'd be great. Let's find where the core stuff is. They thought they were just digging for gold. Instead, they had uncovered something that was never meant to be found. Wait, there's more. Unlike other mining operations they had been through, this one was just simple, efficient digging with rewards. In just a few hours, they had pulled over 100 grams of gold. It felt almost like stealing from history itself, and something about it felt off. The more they dug, the more questions arose. Who had left this mine behind, and why had no one ever come back? If it was as good as it seemed, then just as they reached what should have been the most lucrative part, they found something they weren't prepared for. Evidence that they weren't the first to uncover these riches, and those who came before had left in a hurry. When Parker's team went to clear the site, they realized this wasn't just an abandoned mine, it was a time capsule frozen in history. The rock formations didn't match modern geological maps. On top of that, the tools they found were too advanced for the time period, and something had been left behind, something more valuable than gold. Parker spent millions trying to strike gold, scooping dirt off the riverbanks like it was easy, but every scoop was either a step toward fortune or a reminder of how quickly things could go wrong. Parker had been in tight spots before, but this mine had a strange energy. It whispered of past miners who had tried and failed, yet despite the warnings, Parker's instincts told him to keep going. To him and his team, this felt like the ideal gold mine they had wanted all along, since they were not sure why anyone could leave such a rich place in a hurry. The best thing they could do was mine the most. As they figured out the rest, however, the ground became more unstable the deeper they dug, and then they realized something had been waiting beneath the surface for centuries, and then they hit bedrock, the final layer, before either striking it rich or walking away empty-handed, and there it was, gold more than they had expected, more than anyone in the area had found in decades.